welcome back. Today's brass tack is about the S corporation or the close corporation. Those are two different designations used usually for the same kind of company. A close, C-L-O-S-E, or closely held corporation is a function of the state law under which you are forming your company. It is a corporation, so the ownership structure is the shareholders own the company. The shareholders appoint the directors or elect the directors. The number of directors does not always match up with the number of shareholders. It's set by the formal documents, the bylaws. The directors hire and appoint the officers, and the officers are the president, the secretary, treasurer, sometimes vice president, sometimes there are other types of officers. So that's the hierarchy of the entity. A close corporation is kind of a shortened version of closely held corporation. So a closely held corporation means that there are a fewer number of shareholders, and according to your state law, there are rules on how many there can be. So it's a reduced number, a limited number of shareholders, a limited number of shares of stock that can be issued, a certain amount of capital that the company will have, and then there are stock transfer restrictions that are imposed, and those are usually printed right on the stock certificates themselves. And the company itself is private. Now, when we talk about a close corporation and an S corporation or subchapter S corporation, all in the same breath, we're referring to the closely held company according to the state law, and then the S corporation or subchapter S. That is a section of the Internal Revenue Code. Once an entity is formed by filing the articles of incorporation, you then have the clock starts ticking, and you have to file a subchapter S election form with the Internal Revenue Service within a few months of filing those articles, and it depends upon what time of year you filed it as to when your actual deadline is. So please talk with your legal or tax professional in order to get the correct deadline. Now, when you file the subchapter S election, if you do it timely, it's automatic that you get this treatment, which is then to avoid double taxation, which is one of the main benefits of having a closely held corporation that then gets the subchapter S tax status. So those are two different things. You have to have a close corporation to be eligible to do the subchapter S election, but you want to do those two together. The double taxation is avoided because a subchapter S election allows the entity's earnings to pass through to the owners who are the shareholders. So the entity still has a tax return and it still records a profit or loss, but the entity, if it has filed a timely subchapter S election, the entity does not pay taxes. It files a return, and then whatever is shown as the net profit or net loss is then transferred over onto the individual tax returns of the shareholders in accordance with their share ownership percentage. So if three of us own a company together and we do not elect subchapter S status, and the corporation has a profit of $60,000 and we're all equal shareholders, then that $60,000 profit is going to be taxed at the corporate rate, and then that profit, if it's then paid over to us as the owners, is then taxed to each of us again. So there's double tax. If there is a subchapter S election on file, the corporation, if it has a $60,000 profit, there are three equal shareholders. The $60,000 profit at the corporate level is not taxed. The entity files its tax return, but there's no checks being written. That $60,000 then is assigned over to the three shareholders, $20,000 each, and they pay tax on that net income. This is regardless of whether or not they actually received the cash. So that's another little caveat. Anyway, these are just the things that you need to know with regard to a closely held corporation or a closed corporation and the accompanying subchapter S election, which you have to affirmatively get. It's not an automatic. You have to file papers. So I hope this was helpful to you. For more business tips and information, subscribe. Give us a like if you like this video. Share it with anyone who may be interested or who it might help. Check out thebigbrass.com for other resources and information, and come back and see me next time. Thanks for watching.